Have you been patiently waiting for the Panasonic GH6? It was supposed to come out last year, but has been delayed this year. Well, according to the latest leaks from Nakashita, we're not getting a powerful GH6 this year. It's not going to be doing 8K, but we're going to get a minor update in the GH5 Mark II. This and more after the intro. Thanks for tuning in to The Ordinary Filmmaker. Just before I get to today's interesting and, well, controversial news, please go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. Now, the more likes a video gets, the more I'm likely to publish more content related to this topic. And one last thing before I get to today's news, I just launched the Night Challenge 2 weeks ago. Shoot a video at night, and you could win a brand new Xiong gimbal, or a Xiong Weebill S, and an Ordinary Filmmaker baseball cap. The contest ends this Friday, May the 14th. Watch this video here for more details. And now, for the very exciting news, the GH6. Now, this hasn't really been a secret much at all. Panasonic has come out several times and talked about it. Now, last year, in 2020, when Yamane was doing a, I guess, video review, or not a video review, he was just giving a video telling us what Panasonic's working on. And as far as the GH6, he said, stay tuned for that. Well, we did. And then this year, he did an interview with DP Review, and he basically said that, you know what, the GH6 is coming out in 2021. Well, Nakashita has just put out a tweet, and what I like about Nakashita is they're very, very accurate. And usually they don't put out information until it comes from a confirmed source. And Nakashita says we're not getting the GH6, and this is what we're getting. I'll show you the tweet later, but I'm not going to give it to you right now because it has all the leaks in one tweet, and I want to give you them slowly here. So are you ready for the name? The name is going to be called the LUMIX DC GH5 Mark II, not the GH6. Now already that's got me thinking they're changing the names a little bit because they went GH4, GH5, GH5S, and instead of the GH6, which would indicate a big increase, it's going to be the GH5 Mark II. Okay, so how many megapixels? Well, it's going to support 20.33 megapixels, and that in itself isn't that big. It says this is a micro four thirds sensor, but what that tells you right away is there isn't going to be any 8K. In fact, the highest video resolution that the GH5 Mark II can accomplish is 4K at 60 frames per second. Not even buttery smooth 120 frames per second. Are you groaning? Have you thrown anything at the TV hoping you'd hit me? 4K 60. Now 4K 60 is pretty good, but with everything that's coming out, all these aggressive features that we're seeing, 4K 60, I would expect 4K 120 at least, or at least 4K 100. Pal, it's a pal joke. No 8K, no 4K 120. I think that's the bigger thing here. Now, the leak doesn't go into the specifications about the resolution and frame rates that are available to each of these, other than 4K 60 is the latest and greatest. It also doesn't talk about bit rates. Doesn't talk about whether it's going to be all I/O, which compression codecs it's going to use either, and that plays a huge part as well. All right, let's take a look at the next thing. Now, in terms of EVF, 3.6 million dots, 120 frames per second. Okay, do you guys really care about the size and weight? And the battery, I'm going to skip all that stuff here. It's, well, right here, but this is looking to be a fairly minor update. Now, the GH series is all about video, so we really care about the video specs, and 4K 60 being the highest. And what about autofocus? Have they done anything with autofocus? Well, nothing has been said. So what is the price of this camera, this GH6? $1697 without the kit lens. With the kit lens, it's $2297 for the 12 to 60 millimeter kit. Yeah, I feel awfully let down here. I wish this was from some other rumor site that doesn't have any credibility, and I could, because that was my first thing is, this can't be credible, but it's Nakashita. And again, Nakashita usually doesn't get stuff until they're ready to announce it. It's right up there with Canon rumors when it comes to getting reliable and trustworthy information. I'm still kind of baffled. When I looked at these specs, because I had a busy work day today, so I didn't have a chance to check all my sources out there. But when I was notified and I looked and he says, trust me, when you see them, you'll know. And I looked and I thought, what? GH5 Mark II, 4K 60? Now the name already had me prepared for something that wasn't going to be huge in terms of capabilities. 4K 60? And if they don't have the autofocus fixed, I don't think this is looking very good for Panasonic. Now Panasonic has come ahead and said last year that they're strategically looking at focusing on video for their video customers. I gotta say, there's not much here to get me excited about this camera, not in the least. If I had the GH5, I'd probably stick to the GH5, or I'd consider moving to Panasonic's S series line of cameras, although they're heavier, and I like the form factor of the Micro Four Thirds GH5. This kind of has me wondering, what is their messaging to their customers? And if you are a Panasonic customer, are you thinking of, well, maybe it's time to bolt ship, maybe it's time to go for a Sony or a Canon? Because both Canon and Sony seem to be coming out with cameras that are just blowing the doors off the competition. I mean, 8K is standard, 120 frames per second in 4K. And yes, these cameras are more expensive. But with a Micro Four Thirds, Sony has come out with sensors that can do 8K, that can do 120 frames per second in 4K. And both of these companies have autofocus systems that work very, very effectively. In fact, you can now focus on the eye of insects and pretty much any animal out there. And I shot some video this weekend, and I was shooting from 150 feet away, and I was able to lock onto a woodpecker. And this was not an easy bird to get. I was shooting through so many branches, as you can see in this clip right here. And you can see that it's just, there's a lot of distortion there because I'm basically blurring out all the branches as I'm focused from that distance. I'm about 150 feet away. But focus, not never missed. I don't know. Panasonic's got somewhere under 5% worldwide market share in the interchangeable lens camera market. I was hoping for something a whole lot more. Now, granted, these are only a few specs. This could turn out to be a very, very exciting camera. A couple of specs alone don't make the camera. But I would have at least expect 4K 120. Again, this isn't a super cheap camera. With that kit lens, it's over $2,000. And that puts it within striking distance of the Canon R6. I was going to call it Canon GH6, but that is not a camera. A little bit frustrated here. I'm so disappointed. Look, whether I own a Panasonic or not, whether I own an OM digital camera or Olympus camera or not, I love technology. I love camera technology. I love seeing companies pushing the boundaries. And from everything I can see here, or as you can see right here, this camera isn't pushing anything other than trying to get you to upgrade to a camera that looks like they didn't put much effort into. I need some water. Okay, I'm going to move off of the GH6 now. I got a couple of other topics I want to talk to you about. The next one is, it's an opportunity for you to actually win something. A Zhiyong Weebill S gimbal. And it's a really exciting prize. I think it's got a market value of around $500. The box is sealed. I haven't opened it yet. And we've only got 3 entries into the night challenge. And the night challenge, the whole purpose of this challenge is to get you outside filming at night, filming outside of your comfort zone, to try something different. Try shoot the moon, the planets. I challenge you to see if you can get the 6 moons of Jupiter. I know there are a lot more than 6, but with the lenses available to most full-frame mirrorless cameras these days, you'll be lucky to get about 6 moons of Jupiter. If you can get more, I'll be very impressed. Other things you can shoot. Think of your favorite movie or TV show and do a spoof of it. Shoot outside. You've got between 30 seconds and 180 seconds. So it's not a long video. Go out there. The contest closes midnight Friday, and I've got 3 entries, and they're looking really good, but there's 5 prizes to be given away. So first prize gets an ordinary Filmmaker baseball cap, and yes, the Zhiyong Weebill S. And then 4 other runner-ups will also get an ordinary Filmmaker baseball cap. So please, go out there, try it. Even tonight, if you don't feel like getting outside, that's exactly the time you want to get outside. And just do something simple. Maybe find some great music on YouTube and put this up against it and put your best foot forward, because what's the worst that can happen? You can learn a few things. Best case is you win an ordinary Filmmaker baseball cap, and which one of us isn't an ordinary filmmaker? And of course, the winner, the grand prize winner, goes and gets a Xiong Weebill S. So that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Go ahead and enter, try it out. And if you go ahead and watch this video here, it's got a link in the top where you go ahead and submit your video, and there's more details there. And there are no blackouts. The contest is available to anybody in the world. And I'm really surprised this time in the Spring Challenge, we had about 8 entries, and I've only got 3 here. So at this point, everyone's a winner. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is photography. Yes, the F word. Well, it's actually PH. Now, ever since I started doing video, I've shot less and less stills. And I think in the last year, I've maybe captured maybe 20 stills with my GH5 and, not GH5, my Canon R5. See, I'm still stuck on that Panasonic. It's still bugging me. But I was going to say it again, the GH5. The R5 is an incredible stills camera. It produces really incredible results, especially with a 50mm. But because I don't shoot many stills anymore, I'm starting to get old and rusty when it comes to my skills. And I want to get better. So I was watching actually Tony Northrup's video the other day. He put together an hour-long video. I think it's maybe a little longer than an hour. And he walks us through setting up the R5. Now, as far as video goes, I don't really need any help. I've got my camera set up the way I want to. I'm mostly happy with the results. But he kind of sparked my interest when I was with the photo side of things. And I wondered, I think, like, simple little things like why I hadn't set up my custom modes in photography. It goes to show you how often I've shot. So when he's talking about that, I'm going, yeah, you know what? I need to go and set that up. But after he talked about that, he pushed his book again. I forgot the name of it. I'll mention it here or here. But it's basically on what they've learned and how to get better at photography. So I thought, let's check it out. It's $10 regular price, and they got it on sale right now for like $7 and change. So I thought, what the heck, let's give it a shot. And it's over 200 pages, and it's filled with color photos. And what really staggered me is how many supplemental videos they include with this. Like, this is not something they created like 7 years ago, and they keep pushing this old book. These guys continue to update it. Now, I know some of you don't care for Tony too much, but you know what? If you're like me, you're doing video most of the times and you don't shoot a lot of photos, this book that he's put together is a great reference. Anyhow, I got to the end of chapter 2, which is on compression. Words speak me not. I know what I'm trying to say is, anyhow, I can't, well, what is that word? Not compression. It's composition. So this was Saturday. I read it, watched some videos, and I thought, well, it's time to go to bed now. Well, when I woke up Sunday morning, it was sunny. It was beautiful outside, and it was supposed to be raining. So I thought, give my wife a chance to sleep a little longer. So I took my R5, my backpack, and I decided to throw the old 800mm with the RF extender in the back. And I took it outside. I went for a walk, and I got some pretty good photos. Now, it's funny because some of the things he talks about, for example, your subject. If you're kind of facing this way here, then, you know, most of your frame should be over here instead of being, like, for example, I'll move over here. And this is normal. I should be facing this way. This is where the bulk of the frame is. I shouldn't be doing it like this. It just looks, it's not framed right. The amount of times when I'm out there shooting, and even I do this with video, I'll shoot some video and I'll take it back and I'll be in post and I'll go like, oh, you framed yourself wrong. Things that I know, things that I see, the mistakes that I make that I don't always realize when I'm out in the field. But it also carries over to stills. Framing it, the same composition worked. So I took many shots. I got this shot of a woodpecker, and it's not the best, but I had a lot of troubles trying to shoot through the branches to get up to focus on the bird. I found it was very difficult. But I got some other shots of this fallen log, which was pretty easy to do. And I got some shots of the forest, and this time around, instead of shooting in JPEG, no, I don't shoot RAW all the time because, again, I'm not using this. I'm not producing professional stills. I'm using it for our own needs to put in Apple Photos, to print off 4x6s, or to put on the Apple TV. So I don't need raw images. But I switched over to HEIF because this M1 MacBook Air has no problem opening them. But getting them into photos is a different story. You do have to convert them to JPEG. But if you notice in this still here, look back. Look through the trees. You can see that blue there. And when I tried some of these with JPEGs, I shot with JPEG settings on the camera, it was white. You didn't get that same level of detail. What I noticed by shooting HEIF, if your camera has an option for HEIF, the level of detail is so much better. I mean, you're talking about 10-bit instead of 8-bit. So I highly recommend HEIF. But the long short of it, while I spent maybe about half an hour shooting stills, you know what I ended up doing, right? I spent another hour and a half shooting video. I switched over to video, and I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to keep my attention on stills. And I got some really, really amazing video. And what I did is I took it back, I put it up to some music, and I'm pretty happy with the results. There's a little bit of humor in it too, and one of the things that Tony talks about, one of the things I talk about too when it comes to doing video, or as he talks about stills, is you want to be able to tell a story. The way you frame it, the way you cut and edit makes a huge difference in the story you're trying to tell. So in the comment section down below, see if you can kind of tell me what you think the story was that I was trying to convey. I'm really curious to know what you have to say. And also, let me know what you think about the main story of this video, the headliner, the GH5 Mark II. Oh, I'm really disappointed in this. And it's not so much that I'm disappointed for me, I'm disappointed for all the Panasonic GH5 owners that were really looking for a solid upgrade in the GH6. Panasonic makes I'll say this time and time again, Panasonic makes some really amazing cameras, and the capabilities they put into these cameras, they give more features and more capabilities than any other cameras in the price range. But they do let us down in some areas, and I think 4K 60 right now, well, you know, it's something that's pretty normal to have in this price range. So many others are saying, yeah, we're going to give you more, we're going to give you 4K 60, or sorry, 4K 120. But one thing most have out there is a reliable and trustworthy autofocus system. So if you're not going to hit well with that, then you got to throw in some other features to get us to go, okay, well, you know what? I shoot manual most of the time, so I'm not too worried. And even I've shot manual, but you know what? I really do prefer autofocus because it gives me one less thing I have to worry about when I'm shooting, because I'm a one-person show. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching me and listening to my rant here. Don't forget to subscribe. If you do subscribe, you have a chance of winning 2 Angelbird 128GB AV Pro MK2 P90 SD cards, along with an Angelbird dual UHS-2 card reader. Or you could also win a Ulanzi LED light package with an accent light, underwater light, and various other flat panel lights to help light your subject, or as a really good starter kit for someone starting their own channel. And these 2 prizes will be awarded once this channel reaches 30,000, and hopefully that won't be too much longer. My subscriber count has kind of leveled off a little bit because I'm not getting you guys to subscribe, so please do go ahead and subscribe. And if you do want to help support this channel, well, please use my affiliate links to B&H and Amazon, and consider buying an ordinary Filmmaker baseball cap, this one here, for $34.99 on ordinaryfilmmaker.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.